Beautiful people of planet Earth, today we are uncovering a game changer for podcasters and live streamers, audio enthusiasts alike. This is the Shure MV7 Plus microphone. I'm going to unbox this thing. I'm going to compare it to a Shure MV7. I'm going to compare it to a Shure MV7X, and we're going to tell you the differences of it and what Shure microphone would be best for you. And so we're just going to go ahead and jump into this thing, unbox this puppy, and I'm also going to show you the other great thing about this is the launch of the Shure Motiv Mix App, which you're going to be able to use with this microphone. So this is fantastic. You'll be able to pull in all your audio sources, do a mix, and we're going to go through this whole thing. So let's jump into the unboxing of the Shure MV7 Plus, and as always, welcome to Better Sound. This box is basically the same as you would see with the MV7 and MV7X, and I'm gonna pop this out and show it to you, but you can see obviously the big difference that you're gonna be able to see is the ability here to pull in, and I'm gonna get this right. This is incredible. I can't believe that this is, but there's something like 16 million colors that you're going to be able to use with. I was like, are you kidding? 16 million? So I'm going to put this aside, and you're going to be able to download this Shure Motiv Mix app. There's a QR code for you to be able to download the app, and so that is your first order of business. You're going to get a quick start guide, which will walk you through, including how to do this Motiv Mix app, which is very cool. And as you can see, you've got all these things where you can just tap anywhere to mute. This is another really cool thing. The other thing I will tell you, it actually has a real-time denoiser, and as well as a digital, what they're calling a popper stopper. So I guess it's like, instead of just having the pop filter windscreen, so to speak, there's actually a digital popper stopper, an onboard reverb as well, which I'm stoked to try out, but obviously for podcasts, the reverb is not really something that you would need. Obviously, this has been in a box, so your filter here is going to be a little bit wonked out, but you just leave that out, and that'll eventually get back to normal. This is a form factor we're used to seeing. You've got the yoke here, which is going to be great in terms of being able for shock absorption. You do want to get this onto a stand, and then here you go. Here is the big deal, the big difference, and I'm going to get this in here. You can see that etching there from Shure, and this is where the color is going to come into play. So we're going to get that plugged in. You're going to be able to see the cool colors. You're getting the white Shure logo here on the side, which is different from the Shure SM7DB, which had the black etching. It was something similar to this on the side. This is also available in white. So I know there was a limited edition of the MV7 that was only available on Amazon. They are now making that white and black available, and then later on this year they're going to make a kit available to you, which also includes the stand or the boom arm for you to be able to put that on. So here, this is a little bit different. So they actually put the Shure MV7 Plus on the bottom, so you can see that. So this looks very similar, and I'm going to pull the MV7 and the MV7X. Let's show you the differences between those three microphones. This is your local monitoring, so you can hear yourself coming out of this microphone directly. And then of course, this is your mic cable output. This is XLR. And then you also have the USB as well. So this is very much like the MV7. So here's your difference here between the MV7 Plus and the MV7. Maybe a little bit bigger, not really. There's not much of a difference, if there is a difference at all. I wanted to mention this really quickly about the size of the MV7 versus the brand new MV7 Plus. I did notice that the MV7 Plus looked a little bit bigger, but when I pulled off the pop filters, what I noticed was they are the exact same size with the pop filters off. It's just that the pop filter itself on the MV7 Plus is just a little bit longer than the one that came with the MV7. So that's really the only difference in terms of the size, is it's the pop filter on the MV7 Plus is a little bit longer. Okay, back to the video. And then you're gonna look here at the bottom. The USB is a different jack. So it's USB-C as opposed to the USB jack that you have here. The biggest difference you're going to see is this, where you can just tap anywhere to mute it, as opposed to trying to find this over here on the MV7 and clicking on that. There it is from the side, and here it is from the other side as well. The biggest difference you're going to see is when you plug this thing in and you're using the denoiser, the popper stopper that they're calling it, the onboard reverb, and of course this Motiv Mix app, which we're going to give a full go to. I'm sure there is this 3-meter USB-C to USB-C cable that we're going to use. They definitely give you a decent quality cable, and as you can see right here, this is a USB-C to USB-C cable, which of course goes out from your MV7 Plus and into the USB-C input of your computer. And of course, if you'd rather use the XLR, this would go into your computer interface from there. All right, we have the Shure MV7 Plus microphone plugged up right now. As you can see, as I'm going to bring it down right here, I'm going to try to speak into it so you can still hear me, and that is the XLR cable. I've yet to plug in the USB, but we're going to plug in the USB and show you a demo of that as well, which over on the bigger part of your screen over there on the left-hand side, this is the Motiv Mix software, and I'm going to walk through how this experience is for you, and we'll plug in the USB and we'll test this thing out. There's all kinds of great functionality. A lot of this stuff I'm just doing for the first time as well, so you'll be able to experience that, and we'll give this a proper go. As you can see, there's some best practices here. Keep the microphone 6 to 12 inches from your mouth to get the best sound possible. For best results, record using devices of the same type. For example, using all USB mics is preferred to mixing the USB mics with the built-in mics and Bluetooth devices in the same recording session, which I find interesting because I think up until now, being able to plug in multiple USB microphones into your recording situation really was a problem, and your computer didn't know what to do with them. So we may be allowed to use this Motiv Mix software from Shure and plug in multiple USB mics. So we'll give that a go and see how that works. And then it says you limit the number of applications open while you're recording. It's the best practice anyway, especially when you're doing things like video as well. You just want to shut down things. You got computer processing issues if you got too much stuff going on. Done. You've got your monitor and your main. I've got nothing here in terms of a input source, but as I said, I've got this MV7 Plus. It's plugged into my Rodecaster Pro, which is right here, and if I drag this over, now you're going to see that I buried myself right on the front of that mic, and you saw it go up and clip, and you can see that I seem to be in a really good range. You want to be in that yellow. You'd never really want to go to red, so I may want to drop down the gain a little bit, but this is a cool thing, is it has this thing in the upper right hand corner that you can see that's called sound check, and you can check your levels here locally just to be sure that you're at the right level. So if you click this, you can see this more. Now I have a little camera that's showing this Shure MV7, the upper thing, and above this I have this camera, which is an Insta360 link, and it has a microphone on it, and it's over here. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to pull this over. Now, the levels that you see here on the Insta360 link are actually the microphone that's built into that camera. Right now, I've got two microphones. One is coming off my Rodecaster, and the other is coming off of that little camera. So now you can see I've got a couple of things going on. If I go and I click sound check, now you can see I've got a few different inputs here. I've got this is the MV7 Plus that you see in channel number 1 here on the Motiv Mix software, and then you see channel number 2 is that Insta360. Now, if I click start, what it'll do is it'll just basically, you just find find your comfortable spot as how you're normally talking, and then it will analyze your input and tell you, do you need to crank up your gain? Do you need to lower it? How does that work? So I'm going to hit 3, 2, 1, and now it's testing, and you can see it's giving me a little countdown as far as what I'm doing, and I'm speaking into it, and now it's going to say and then it says I'm about 4 dB too high. So I will go and I will click on my dB and my decibel level on my microphone. I'm going to drop it down 3. So you probably heard the levels go down a little bit from there, and then you can go and hit retry if you want to retry, or you can do the Insta360 link. But generally you can see if I'm getting too close and I'm using words like I just said generally and it popped open, but I don't normally speak into the microphone like I'm speaking right now. I usually speak across it, so any plosives or words like generally are not going to peak that out because I'm speaking across the microphone, but I have it like this just for purposes of this demonstration, so you can see this camera here at the top. That gives you an idea of what that whole sound check thing does. And of course, if I have other inputs that I want to do, you can replace it by just dropping that over top. I'm going to cancel that because I don't want that. Or if you just want to keep adding other channels, I don't have this plugged in. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Just click this X and you'll delete that channel. Don't worry about deleting something that's critical to your situation. It's just deleting it from your screen here as an input. And you can add all of these other things that you might have. This is another camera that I have on my system. So now I've got 2 cameras that have microphones and 1 microphone in here. So I've got 3 different things. And here's the other interesting thing is that you can record this. And the interesting thing is I'll go ahead and I'll hit this and start recording and walk you through this. And we've got a countdown. And so now I'm recording, and you can see that my voice is down here at the bottom, and it's giving me a readout of what I'm recording. I'm going to go ahead and hit done. Now, it saves it into a spot, into a folder that's here on your hard drive. If you just click Show in Folder, and you'll be able to see where that is. And I've done a few of these before. Look at what it does. You get separate tracks for each of what you've recorded. So if you're someone who does podcast editing, that having separate tracks is something that is pretty critical to you being able to edit. And if somebody coughs, it doesn't bleed onto everybody's tracks, that kind of stuff. And then, of course, you have a main output, which is all of those 3 that are blended together into 1 track. That is really cool. You basically have recording software, and you have the ability to do sound checks and record them. And they are WAV files as well, or WAV files. I say WAV files. But anyway, the highest possible quality and they are stereo WAV files, which if you wanted to change them to MP3s or mono or anything like that, you could certainly do that. So that's a really quick walkthrough of the Motiv Mix software as you plugged in an XLR microphone, which at this point is the MV7 Plus. This is also a USB microphone, and it has all kinds of other great features as well. So I'm going to plug in the USB to this microphone into my computer as well, and we'll start to dig into some of these other functionalities with the Shure MV7 Plus. All right, what we're showing you on the screen is the Shure Motiv Mix software as well as the MV7 Plus. I've got this connected directly via USB out of this microphone. I do have these headphones right here that are direct monitoring, and what you see in the camera above my head right here is the top of the Shure MV7 Plus microphone. I've done a factory reset on this microphone, so this is exactly the experience that you would get pulling this thing out of the box. Every one of your sources is going to show up here. So if you are doing any sort of mix and you want to pull in other cameras, microphones, whatever into this, you can go ahead and do this. Down here is my Shure MV7 Plus. Now you can do the settings before you actually add this to Shure Motiv Mix if you want. One other thing I should make mention of is that you can use your Motiv Mix software as your virtual sound interface. So your computer recognizes it as an interface. So if you want to do a mix, if you're doing a live stream, you're doing a gaming stream, you want to pull in different sources, you can do that. You just need to select Motiv Mix from your local computer settings as your output source. But in this case, we're just going to drag and create, or just click on, and it would create this channel, which is the Shure MV7 Plus. Of course, you can mute it from here, and you'll see the main Motiv Mix over here as well. Sound check, which we've also walked through how to do this so you can check your levels. You can certainly do that there and then do your recordings. But what we're going to do here, because we are plugged into a USB, you're already noticing some differences because there is some of these things that are built into the Motiv Mix software that are on by default when you bring in your Shure MV7 Plus. So if you click your device settings down here, you're going to see this right here. You can do like an auto level of your gain, or you can uncheck that, and then you can add manually whatever level of gain you feel you need to add from there. I'm going to go back to auto level just to do that. You can change your monitor mix of your mic and your PC level if you want, one more than the other. You can certainly adjust it right from there. The tone settings here, what I like about this, you have dark, natural, and bright, but you can kind of like waver in between here. As you can see, there's dashes here. So if you want to go all the way dark, and I'm going to drag right here so you can kind of understand how this works. There, I'm dark. So I did get quite dark, but maybe that's too much. Maybe you want to go somewhere in between to where you're getting that low sort of 200 hertz end or something like that, but it's not too boomy. You sound like you're in a broadcast studio. That's probably what I like right there. Your natural tone is just your natural tone. There's nothing on it. And then you go to bright, that's going to bring your EQ higher, more crispy sounding. The reverb here, and I'm going to go ahead and click reverb on output, but I'm also going to click reverb on direct monitoring because I am directly monitoring this mic with my headphones here. So I'm going to click on both of those, and now you are hearing studio with about medium intensity. So this is what's called studio reverb. Now for podcasting, this is probably not something you want to do, but you could certainly dial that back. One thing I'll make notice of here as I'm kind of dialing things up and down is that as you slide it, it won't make the change until you let up on your mouse. So just understand that while you slide it, it's not making a change. It's when you let up on the microphone that the change makes. So as I'm sliding it, the intensity is not raising, but when I let go of it, now the intensity is way up. So that is the studio. Then there's the plate reverb, the mighty plate reverb. And these are really just more for probably music vocal than anything, or if you want to use, something for an effect or maybe audio drama or something like that. And then there's Hall, which is like, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Shure MV7 Plus. So I'm turning that off. And so this is what I was talking about earlier. Out of the box, set as default, this real-time denoiser and the popper stopper are on. So I'm going to, right now, I'm going to click off the real-time denoiser, click it back on so you can hear the difference. So I'm going to be quiet on my end, so hopefully everyone's got headphones on right now. I mean, if you're watching this video at this point, you should probably have those headphones on. But I'm going to click this real-time denoiser on and off, and you'll be able to hear sort of the differences of the denoiser with and without. So right now, it does have the real-time denoiser on, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it off, and you should be able to hear some noise in my studio. All right, you may have been able to hear a little bit noise. Now I'm going to turn it on, and now that noise has gone away, which is interesting. I've got a fan down here at the bottom of my desk. I just now thought about this. So I'm just going to turn this off. And so now you're going to hear the studio noise again. And I'm going to turn on my fan, and let's see how this real-time denoiser does. All right, so the denoiser is off. I'm going to turn on my fan. Okay, now you definitely can hear the fan. I've got it held up right here. This is not fair. So anyway, I've got the fan on and I'm going to hit the real-time denoiser. Let's see how it does with it. Not too bad. Not too bad. Let's click it back on. There's the fan. I'm going to turn it back on. Not too bad, right? Wow. Okay. So we'll leave the denoiser on for now. And this popper stopper, which I was interesting to hear. And so like this is, for those who are watching this and don't know what a plosive is words that start with P or T or certain consonants that where you blow out extra air when you say that particular word, phrase, whatever. Sometimes you just do an exclamation or whatever, and extra air comes out. And if you're speaking directly into a microphone and you say pizza, it's going to push that air into the diaphragm of the mic, make it distort, and that's bad and really hard to work with. And so that's why you have things like, and this microphone is good for minimizing those plosives anyway, and it certainly has what's called a windscreen or a pop filter on it, which helps. But I'm going to go ahead and use this popper stopper. I'm going to turn it off and I'm going to say the words, and then I'm going to turn it on and say those very same words, and we'll see how it works with those plosives. So here we go. I'm going to turn it off, and you're probably going to hear some plosives and some extra air. So just get ready, and don't go running for the hills just yet, but it's really just for purposes of demonstration so you can kind of see how this popper stopper works. So here we go. Popper pizza. Popper pizza. Now I'm going to turn it on. Popper pizza. Popper pizza. Do you hear the difference? Well, that actually worked. Okay, I'm going to say something else. Okay, it's off. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Now it's on. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Wow, and I actually turned into the microphone and really kind of blew some extra air in there. So I think it really does a good job, believe it or not, in doing that. So, and still sounding really good. So that's interesting that we do that. Then, and I'm getting to the lights here, ladies and gentlemen, so stay tuned. Your high-pass filter, which is going to roll off some of the unnecessary low end that would be in your audio, it's set to off, but if you wanted to get those super low frequencies that you probably can't hear anyway and get those rolled off, or even higher yet still too low frequencies, you can do that right there. And you do notice a difference in my voice right there. That really is going to get some of that low boominess out, and I'm going to turn that off. I think some of it comes from this tone, which I have somewhat dark. So now we're going to get to the lights. If you notice over here, these are arrows in the Motiv Mix software. That's what you want to click, not these other things. These other things won't open it up. You have to click this arrow to have it open up. All right, so this is where the magic is. You can choose the behavior of the lights. You can choose the brightness level of the mics, and then your color theme of the lights. And so it comes stock by default with a version of what the Shure color scheme is, and it has what's called live. And so like as I speak into it, you can see it's moving to the words that are coming out of my mouth. It's working with those, as you can see. And if you want to just go to something that's pulsing, you can click pulsing, and you can kind of see how this works. It's definitely a little bit more nice and easy and that kind of thing. If you don't want something that's so flashy and distracting, this is kind of nice. You can certainly select your color scheme. So what you can do here is click your drop-down arrow again, and Shure kind of keeps their own color in there as one of these to select. But if you want to create your own color for the pulse, you can click on that. And then here you can select your custom color. They give you some swatches to choose from. This looks like something that'd be more like my color, but actually I'm going to find something that's a little bit more like this and click save. And now, as you can see, my custom pulse has changed. Looks to be a little bit darker than what I see on the screen, so I may go a little bit brighter with that eventually. But anyway, there's pulsing, and then you get solid, and that's just going to remain lit the entire time, and you can choose your color there. And then you've got your brightness level. Let me go back to live. You've got your brightness level, and this is automatically defaulted at medium. You can go to low, so it's not as stark when you're speaking into the mic. But then you can go, from medium, you can go up to high, and you can kind of see how that is definitely brighter. But then you've got your max setting, which definitely is not just going to affect how everything looks on your screen, but it's going to probably shine a little bit off of your face. So you might need to be aware of that. And of course, they do give you more presets here to choose from. Fruity looks pretty cool. That looks a little bit more in line with my vibe, so I might go with Fruity. And then there's Space, which is a little more blue. That's kind of cool too. That's cool. And so, of course, you can customize any colors that you want. Put in your hex code for your color, and then really dial it in to your liking. You've got your mute as well if you want to do it here from the software. But of course, if you tap anywhere on the top of this microphone, see, I was on mute. And so there's that as well. So there you go. I mean, I am pleasantly surprised by the popper stopper and the denoise function, and just wanted to walk through that experience here when you pull this thing out of the box, download the Motiv Mix software, start doing your recording. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to test how the Shure MV7 Plus, which is over here that I'm not speaking to, but what you're hearing right now is the original MV7, just the Shure MV7. I'll give you an overhead here so you'll be able to see the microphone that I am speaking into right here, and that is the Shure MV7. And over here on my right, which you're not hearing just yet, is the Shure MV7 Plus. Both are connected via XLR into my Rodecaster Pro. We're going to A/B these two so you can hear how each of these microphones sound back and forth, and you'll be able to determine the difference between the two. The Shure MV7, the Shure MV7 Plus. The Shure MV7 Plus, both of these microphones are plugged in XLR and to a Rodecaster Pro, and so you can tell if there's a difference at all. If you feel like there's a difference, let me know. I'm going to switch over here, and now we're talking into the Shure MV7. I'm definitely noticing a bit of a difference myself between the two. I feel like maybe the MV7 Plus is a bit warmer. I have no processing on. I will make mention again that there is no processing on either one of these microphones. They're plugged directly into the Rodecaster Pro via XLR. And so here is the MV7, and here is the MV7 Plus. Here's the MV7 Plus, and here is the MV7. All right, yet another test for the Shure MV7 Plus, but what you're hearing right now is the Shure MV7X. And so what this is, as I'm showing you this with my overhead mic, this is just a straight up MV7 with an XLR output. It has no USB whatsoever. In fact, I love this microphone. It definitely is cool. It definitely has this really cool etched Shure logo in there. You can't plug this in with USB into your microphone. You will need an interface of some sort to be able to do it. This is a great microphone. Love this microphone. It is less expensive than the regular MV7, but does have just an XLR output. Sounds great. So I thought we would test the MV7X to the brand new MV7 Plus and be able to A/B test these. Again, this is plugged into a Rodecaster Pro 2 with no processing on whatsoever, and so we'll go back and forth between these two microphones. This is the Shure MV7X. This is the Shure MV7 Plus. The Shure MV7 Plus, again, just XLR, no USB, no processing whatsoever on any sort of software or via the interface, which is the Rodecaster Pro 2. MV7 Plus, MV7X, Shure MV7 Plus. Let me know what you think. So what you're hearing right now is a Shure SM7B microphone. I've got this plugged directly into a Rodecaster Pro 2, and it has no processing on. The processing is completely off. I promise you. You're not hearing compression pumping. You're not hearing any sort of gate or any EQ or anything like that. This is just plugged directly into the Rodecaster Pro, and then both of them are at about commensurate dB levels, just so that there's not a shockingly loud version of one mic versus the other. I'm going to alternate between that and the Shure MV7 Plus. This is the Shure SM7B. And this is the Shure MV7 Plus. The Shure MV7 Plus, you probably noticed a bit of a difference. You may like this more. You may not like this as much. So let's alternate back and forth, and you can get a really good sense of the difference of these two microphones. Once again, this is the Shure MV7 Plus. No processing whatsoever, going through a Rodecaster Pro 2. Shure MV7 Plus. Shure SM7B, Shure SM7B, Shure SM7B, Shure MV7 Plus, Shure MV7 Plus. I should also, you probably are noticing right here at the bottom of the microphone, I am plugging this in XLR only. I'm not using the USB in this microphone, and I have no processing on this whatsoever. This is just raw XLR out of that microphone, just like I am with this other microphone. One more time, Shure MV7 Plus, Shure SM7B. Okay, there you go. A full comprehensive demo of everything you need to know about the new Shure MV7 Plus microphone. It occurred to me at some point during the video, I never showed you the front look here for someone who wants to do it this way and really highlight the lights as they come about. So there it is. That's how that will look and sound for you. I have the digital popper stopper on. I have the denoiser on. I've adjusted the tone a little bit dark, and really liking the way that this is sounding. So I hope this video helps you. If it did, please like, subscribe, follow us. We do videos like this for all kinds of different podcasting, live streaming gear, not just microphones, but headphones and all kinds of great stuff. So really appreciate you sticking around for the entirety of this video. We certainly hope it helps you.